Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, my friends. Good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon, all of my friends. Hello, Oniseli. Okay. Thank you for the chance that is given to me. Today, I will present the second topic of translation lesson that is about elements of translation competence. Next, Mas Jalu. Yeah, okay. Our main focus will be four. The first is about the definition of translation competence. The second is the elements of translation competence. The third is acquiring the translation competence, and the fourth is discussion. Okay, now let's move to the definition. Yeah, as Pak Chandra had said before in our previous meeting that there are many definitions of translation competence, but he preferred to choose the one from PACT since it is more acceptable, and also it proposes translation competence not only as a single entry, but it consists of sub-competence. But as a comparison, I will quote here three definitions of translation competence. The first is from Bell, 1991, page 43. He defines translation competence as the knowledge and skills the translator must possess in order to carry out a translation. And then the second is from Hurtado Albir, 1996, page 48. He defined TC or translation competence as the ability of knowing how to translate. And the last year from PACT, like what Pak John had said before, that translation competence is expert knowledge needed to perform a translation task well. So in my opinion, we can take a straight line that there are two elements in translation competence. The first is about the knowledge, and the second is about the skill. So in translation competence, there are declarative knowledge about knowing what, and also the procedural knowledge about knowing how. Okay, and then move to the next. Okay, what are they about the sub-competence in translation competence? There are 6 sub-competencies. The first is linguistic competence. I'm sorry, wait a moment. Okay, there are 6 sub-competencies. The first is linguistic competence in the 2 languages. The second is extra-linguistic competence. The third is the instrumental professional competence. The fourth is psychological competence. The fifth is transfer competence. And the last is strategic competence. Those sub-competence are interrelated each other, like Pak John had said in our previous meeting. So each of the competence support the other competence in order that a translator can do their translation job well. Okay, move to the next slide, Mas Jalu. Okay, here a short introduction about each of sub-competencies. The first is the linguistic competence in the 2 languages. So in order that a translator can do their job well, they have to master the linguistic competence in both languages. The first is the source languages, and the second is the target language. The translator must have an equal mastery in both languages. So it deals with the ability to understand the source language or SL and target language or TL, and also about how to produce meaning from the SL to the TL. And then about extra linguistic competence. It is about the translator ability on understanding the cultural knowledge and also spatial field knowledge. As a translator, we sometimes get a job, for example, about the text that is beyond our capacity. For example, my mastery is on language teaching. So if I take a translation job about medical field, about science lesson, then I have to have this competence, extra linguistic. So the translator must know what kind of field knowledge that the job it is. So to do the translation that beyond his mastery, he must have a knowledge about spatial field knowledge. For example, if, like what I've said before, I had a job in medical lesson, then I have to consult about a certain meaning of the word to either the expert, the encyclopedia, and also from the other sources, so that we can produce the equal meaning from the SL to the TL. And then about instrumental professional competence. It is about the use of knowledge, documentation, and also technology. I still remember that in our previous meeting, Sally said that in translation, we can use machine aid. Is it right, Sally? Hello, Sally. I can hear you, Sally.
Yes.
Yeah, we can use machine, right? To do translation job. Yeah.
Your voice is very.
My voice is. You can hear me? You can hear me now?
Sorry. My volume is no.
Oh, okay. You have said that we can use machine to do translation.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
It deals with what Sally had explained to us before, that in doing translation job, we can also use the aid from the technology, like the translation application, like the computer, and also use the document like encyclopedia and the other sources, so that we can produce the equal meaning from the SL to the TL. Okay, thank you, Sally.
Even the Google Translate.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay. And then about psychological competence. It is about the ability to use all kinds of psychomotor, cognitive, and also attitudinal resources. So deals with the psychomotor, it deals with how long the translator can retain the memory about the text, and also about the attention span. How can he stay to read and understand the source from the TL, and also how long he can stand to reproduce the meaning from the SL to the TL. That is the example. And about the attitudinal, it's like the creativity of the translator himself. Next, Mas Jalu. Okay, this is the two other sub-competencies, the transfer competence. So from the name transfer, it means put from one side to the other side. It is the ability to complete the transfer process from the source text to the target text. So this competence is supported by the previous competence. from the linguistic, the extra-linguistic, instrumental, and also psychological competence. It is about how well the translator can produce the equivalent meaning from the source text or source language to the target language. And the last is strategic competence. As Pak Chon had said before, that this competence will affect the other sub-competencies because it deals with how the translator planning and also carrying out the translation process, evaluating the translation product, and also identifying the translation problem. So whenever the translator get a problem, then how well can he use the strategic, the idea, the step to solve the problem? Next, Mas Jalu. Okay, to make it clearer, I will take the example. This is from the extra-linguistic problem. So this is the problem is, the example is about the problem that a translator may have. The situation is that the text is in source language, the source language is English text, and the target language is in Spain. So the translator must translate a text, and in that text, there is a phrase, Sunday and weekly papers. The translator has to translate it into Spain. So here comes the problem. There is a cultural problem. Why? Because the distinction doesn't exist in Spain. I mean, the distinction is the term Sunday paper. Yeah, the term Sunday paper is not exist in Spain, but it exists in English. Although the weekly paper have a Sunday edition in Spain, but the concept is not quite the same. So how is the solution? Then the translator has to make a cultural adaptation or find other solution. For example, is to generalize and refer to all the publication mentioned in the press, such as the word in the bold type. I'm sorry, I can't read it well because it is in Spain language. Yeah, maybe revistas, periodicos, and so on. So here the translator cannot simply translate the Sunday paper into the word Sunday in Spain, but he has to find the other term since there is no Sunday papers in Spain. Yeah, not only simply Sunday papers, it transfer into Spain language, but he has to use the other word to make the translation is natural. Yeah, he has to make the cultural adaptation. So he used the word that refer to the publication mentioned in the press in Spain. Maybe that is the example that how the translator use the sub-competencies when he or she find the problem. And here is the example of extra-linguistic problem that can be solved by extra-linguistic competent, not only by linguistic competent itself. Okay, next, Mas Jalu. And then here's the third point is about the acquisition of translation competence. There are many terms of translation competence, but I also quote from the PECT. And there are three main points about the translation competence. The first is that the translation competence is a dynamic process. So it is not constant. It will change time to time. And also the process is a spiral process. What does it mean by spiral process? Does anyone know? Spiral process? Okay, the spiral process is that one skill or one knowledge will get the best mastery when they are used again and again or practice over and over again. So it's like a spiral. It doesn't move like a straight line, but it's like a spiral. It will get a better mastery if it is studied or doing again, and again. Yeah. And then the stage of the acquisition is from novice or pre-translation, like what you can see in the picture on the right side. The stage of the acquisition is start from the novice or pre-translation competence, where the translator has a little mastery on each of sub-competencies, until the expert or the translation, or it is called the translation competent. The expert means the translation already developed and also integrated all of the sub-competencies in doing his or her translation project. And while the acquisition is done, the translator or the person also use the learning strategy to master each of the sub-competencies. Next, Mas Jalu. Okay, here comes to the discussion. Since it is about translation, so I just remember that there is also a problem in my class, in my own class, yeah. So here I ask all of you, actually with Pak Sondro too, about the idea to solve this problem in my class, yeah, to show to solve the problem in my class. Okay, the situation is like this. My student knowledge about the English culture is still low, and they just rely on their dictionary in translating the text, either from Indonesia to English or English to Indonesia. So my student translation will be like this, yeah. They will translate jalan-jalan in Indonesia into English for walking. Yeah, because the Indonesian term is jalan-jalan. So they translate it into walking. And then whenever they want to say bersih in English, they will say cleaning. And then there is a term buah tangan in Indonesia or oleh-oleh. They will translate it into hand fruit. And then sometimes they use the word poison, which mean racun atau bisa dalam bahasa Indonesia. They use it to show about ability. Yeah. So they use poison. For example, I poison play guitar. Even the correct word is I can play the guitar, but they use the word poison to describe that they can do something. So I ask all of you 2 questions. The first is, what kind of sub-competencies should be developed based on this problem? Yeah, because till now I still get the difficulties to teach about translation, since it is not stand as one lesson. Yeah, it should be integrated with the other competencies in my class. And is there any idea on how to solve the problem? I think that's all about my presentation. I need your suggestion, idea, and the others. Okay, thank you. Ya, Mas Jalu. Oke. Okay,
Miss?
maybe yeah.
Yes.
Who wants to give the idea about my
May I
problem?
try?
Yeah, okay, Miss Putri.
Okay, for the first questions, kinds of subcompetence that should be developed, I think it should
Yeah.
be extra linguistic competence
Yeah.
because we are learning about the culture, we're learning about the habituality of a native speaker or a native of a native language itself. So I think we have to introduce these kinds of habitual actions toward the students so they can know the cultural reasons why we cannot use that words as the translations of these words in our bahasa. And for the
Okay.
second, is there any idea to solve the problems? Well, I think the solving idea would be your previous explanations. It deals with the spiral process or the dynamic one. So we have to get the student used to it. So we have to repeat over and over again and then make it to or blend it to Indonesian context so the students can really know how to use the proper words from the target language to translate from the bahasa itself.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's
yeah.
my answer. Thank you, Bu Irma.
Yeah. Okay. So if I may conclude, the subcompetence that should be developed is extra linguistic, yeah. And then the solution is to make the student what is accustomed with the task, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Miss Putri. And then tadi Miss Pipit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Please.
Actually, for the first question, it is already been answered by Miss Putri. I have the
Yeah.
same answer. But if I may give an addition for the second
Yeah.
question, the idea to solve the problem, maybe it is better for the teacher to give more tags, especially deal with the native speaker, and then to expose the culture, and then of course before that it is better for the teacher to discuss the, how can I say, the terminology, the difficult words, so that the student will also be exposed. Oh, I see. This is the terminology for this in that language, for example. And then, of course, it is like Miss Putri already said, the spiral one. So the teacher must do this solution repeatedly, so that,
Okay.
as we know, the translation mostly deal with text, so better to give them, expose them with more text or maybe
Task.
reading.
Translation task, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but in different culture, maybe from different
Okay.
country, or maybe from our country, so that they are used to be in some terminology, so that you will also guide them, something like that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So, the first is still the same with Miss Putri, yeah. The second is expose, yeah. The main solution is expose the student with the different native texts with different culture. So the student will be accustomed to get a new terminology in a different culture, and also get accustomed to know, oh, in other culture it is A, but in our culture it will be like this. Is that
Yes.
so?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe, is there any other opinion from my friend?
I want to try, Bu.
Okay, Mas Jalu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, in this discussion section is a little bit of my presentation part tomorrow on
Okay, berarti I help you ya.
yes, on what is it?
Okay.
Di hari Rabu itu ada sedikit di sini gitu sebenarnya. So,
Yeah. Okay.
actually the first thing before you ask your student to doing translation,
Yeah.
even though it is in the more simple text, you need to give them some explanation or understanding about
Okay.
the sometimes you cannot find the equal meaning of things in English to Indonesia.
Vice versa ya.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the simplest way, because if
Mhm.
well, to give them more text, to make, to show them another example of text is also good, but first you need to tell them that sometimes there's no equal meaning, equal meaning in things.
Meaning from SL to TL ya.
Yes,
Yeah.
from source language to target language.
Yeah.
Yes. By doing so, I think that they will understand about it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
because
Thank you, Mas Jalu.
yeah, that's, I think, the easiest things to do to solve this
Okay.
problem. Thank you.
Okay. So from Mas Jalu's opinion is explanation that sometimes there is no equal meaning or equal translation from SL to TL. Okay, I think that's also a good idea. Maybe I missed this in that moment. So they translate jalan-jalan to walking. Okay.
Bu,
Maybe
may I
yeah.
just comes to
Yeah.
my mind. How about
Okay.
if before or maybe before you give the text, you may
Yeah.
give like the ice breaking with like matching definition with the target
Oh,
vocabulary.
okay.
Maybe in
Yeah.
games it might be more fun, and
Yeah.
also it will give the what is it like scaffolding for them that the
Yeah.
target vocabulary will be used in the text, for
In
example.
the text, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I sometimes do that, but in this context is they have to make a sentence with them, with the word gitu ya, with the word jalan misalkan walk. So because they say in Indonesia jalan-jalan, the sentence is walking, something like that. Yeah. Okay. So give them the apa ya namanya ya, modal ya, apa istilahnya ya.
Vocabulary bank.
Yeah, vocabulary bank. Yeah, right. Okay. Before we come to the text, yeah. So they already got the idea of the term that they will find when they read the text, and also use the word in a sentence. Yeah.
Yes,
Gitu
yes.
kan, Miss Pipit?
Because
Yeah. Okay.
yes, because they have accustomed. They get used to know the word and then the definition and also the context.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Maybe if there is no idea again, maybe it will come to question and answer session. Hopefully, I can give a good information to you. Otherwise, later on in our next meeting, Pak Chon will give the information. Okay. Ya, itu Jalu kenapa? Jalu. Si Habib kenapa itu?
Back to the first page, Mas Jalu.
Okay.
Question, Miss. Bu
Ya,
Bu
Miss
Irma.
Lati. Ya.
Yeah. Actually, for your discussion session before, my answer will be two competence, which is extra linguistic and transfer competence. But after hearing the answers from some friends before, so maybe I still need to clarify the meaning, the explanation about the transfer competence. Could you give me more explanation or more example about transfer competence, please?
Okay, about transfer competence. Yeah, okay. Maybe I answer directly or wait to the other question?
Directly aja, Bu.
Directly? Okay,
Yes.
wait a minute. Yeah. For transfer competence, yeah, wait a minute. Like what I've said in my first slide that bentar, itu Mas Jalu ke yang transfer competence dong. Yeah. Okay, it is the ability to complete the transfer process from the source language or source text to the target language or the target text. So in translation competence or translation transfer competence, it is about the competence, the translator competence in knowing. The first is knowing the methods of translation, knowing the methods of translation. And then the second is about knowing about the textual or how to understand the text, and then how to transfer it into the target language. So to transfer it in the target language, it needs like revision, proofreading, and also post-editing skill. Gimana jelasinnya ya? Sebentar, biar lebih mudah. Wait a minute. Anyone can help me? Aku masih merangkai kalimat biar mudah. Maybe the other can help me? Ada yang bisa bantu?
Transfer competence.
Transfer competence, ya.
So, my Bu.
Ya, boleh, Mas Jalu.
Yes, in my understanding, transfer competence is the competencies you should have in, translation, of course, and it is related with your analysis skill and the way you make decision whether you can transfer the meaning of certain things from source language to target language or not. As for the example before, no, I will give you an example.
Yeah,
like this. This one is not transferable. So in a source language, in Indonesian language, sometimes in Javanese literature you might read such cultural terms such as Mbak or Mas, and in the source language it means that Mbak is someone older with that is a woman, and Mas is someone older that is a man. But this term cannot be transferred or translated because we don't have any. It doesn't have any equal meaning in the target
language.
Target language. In this case, target language is English because we have different cultures. In the target language in English, in America or Britain, that they didn't use such terms such as Mas or Mbak, and if we force to transfer it into sis or bro, then it might change the formalities of the text, because in a case where the text is formal, then you also need to transfer it formal way. So instead of change the meaning, then you might create the footnote or the glossarium at the end of the translation, but you should keep the Mas and Mbak term, so it won't change the meaning or the format of the translation. That's what I understand, Bu.
Okay, maybe I can add, as I've understood before. Okay, the transfer competence is not a single entry, So to have this transfer competence, we have to master like the linguistic competence, the extra linguistic competence. So here we know first the meaning of the source language. We know first, and then as a translation process, we have to transfer it into the target language. So here we need the knowledge first, the knowledge that the linguistic, the extra linguistic, and so on and so forth. And then in this, we need the ability to create the equal message or the equal meaning in the target's language. So it deals with how good the translator produce a new meaning in the target language. Yeah, so it is not a single entry. To have the transfer competence, we have to master like linguistic competence, extra linguistic, the instrumental, and so on. And then to transfer it, we need this ability, yeah, to create the new meaning or new message, new equal meaning, new equal message in the target language. So we need to transfer the ability to move the message from the source language to the equal one in the target language. I think that's the addition for me. Hopefully it will be understood by you, Miss Mel. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you very much,
Yeah.
Irma, for the explanation,
Jalu
and
juga.
also Pak Jalu.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for the explanation. But back to your discussion, after hearing the explanation about the transfer competence, according to me, the competence you need to develop for your student is the transfer competence.
Also, yeah. Okay. So actually, in doing the translation project, we cannot rely on one sub-competencies because, as Pak Chondro also said, that it is interrelated. Although sometimes, for example, if we do the translation in medical, maybe this extra linguistic will be superior than the other because we have to find about the equal meaning, the knowledge about the knowledge to understand first, understand the text first, and then we need this transfer competence to transfer the message to the equal message in the target language. Yeah, I'm agree with you, Miss Melati. Okay, thank you for your addition.
Thank you, Irma.
Si Habib tanya apa ya? Di chat. What is the required essential skill for transferring the language? Okay. Habib, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Ibu.
Okay, why don't you ask directly, just by chat? Lagi ngopi ya?
I'm at the Jalan Raya, because I'm taking the class.
Oh my God. Okay. So about the essential skill in translating, I think based on the definition of translation competence, all of the sub-competence are interrelated. So they are supporting each other. But as I remembered from Pak Chondro's explanation in our second meeting, if I'm not mistaken, the strategic competence will affect the other competence in doing the translation project. Why? Because it deals about the way the translator planning the project, doing the project, evaluating until solving the problem that the translator find while he or she doing the translation job. So all of the sub-competence, I think, is essential. Is essential. Although in some cases, one sub-competence maybe will be superior needed because in some condition, like what I have said before, while we are translating something that beyond our mastery, then we need the extralingual competence more than the other, since we have to know the good information, the reliable information to understand the meaning in the source language, so we can transfer or we can do translation in the equal meaning in the target language. I think that's my explanation, Habib. Can you get it?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Bu Irma. Thank you. Thank you very much
Okay.
for
Thank you, Habib.
briefing. I'm satisfied
Yeah.
from your answer.
Oh, thank you. Besok ngopi ya.
Dari Anda ya.
Dari Anda? Ya, saya bawakan kopi 1 renteng ya. Ya, okay. Thank you, Habib, for your question. Is it enough? Hello? Apa aku lost contact ya? Hello?
I think for me it's enough, Bu.
We're here.
Yeah. Okay.
10 minutes left.
10 minutes left. Okay. Is it enough ya, friend? So,
Yeah, you can brief us more. Yeah, you can brief us
Okay,
more
okay,
because
okay.
you have 10 minutes more. No problem.
Okay. So, here I will make the conclusion. Transfer competence is about the knowledge and also the ability that the translator must have. And in acquisition, the translation competence, there are 6 sub-competencies that the translator must master. The first is about the linguistic competence in both languages, the extra-linguistic competence, the transfer competence, the psychological competence, the strategic competence, and also the instrumental professional competence. All of the sub-competencies are interrelated. It means that one sub-competence support the other competence in doing the translation project. And to acquisition this competence, it needs a stage and also the learning process, which requires also the learning strategy from the translator to master it. I think that's all about my presentation today. Thank you for all of your good participation and also for your good ideas. I'm sorry if I cannot please you all, and thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum
Thank you, Bu
warahmatullahi
Irma.
wabarakatuh. Thank you, Bu
Okay.
Irma. Thank